I welcome you all in today's webinar, which is on the lean project management in construction, which is an important topic in today's world related with the construction industry. So before starting the webinar, I will just introduce you to the pattern of the webinar. We will have around 50 to 55 minutes session on this topic, lean project management in construction industry, and then we will have a 5 to 10 minutes question and answer session. So I would request you all to not interrupt during the webinar, and you can just note down your questions, and then you can ask after this session is over. So thank you so much, everyone, and I welcome you all in today's webinar. It is first webinar in this series which we have started in 2023. So let me introduce Dr. Mohammad Imran. Dr. Mohammad Imran is a consultant with more than 20 years of successful experience in oil and gas, construction, IT, education, training, and other sectors in various countries. He has worked in United Kingdoms and Gulf region, and also South Asia, South Asian countries. He has provided consultancy and training to companies and individuals. I'm also one of the student of Dr. Mohammad Imran. He's a very well-known in PMP trainings. He is also a CEO of company T3 Consultants, which is basically providing various project management trainings. He possesses skill set in project program, portfolio management, business administration, leadership, PMO, and organization change management. He has successfully managed complex projects portfolios and has delivered productivity enhancement in public and private sectors. He is specialist in strategy designing and execution for mature and startup organizations. So without any further ado, I would like Dr. Mohammad Imran to start his webinar. Thank you so much, Dr. Mohammad Imran, for joining us today. And we are looking forward to learning from you.
Great. Thank you very much, Mr. Vakas, for a huge introduction. Yeah, I'm just trying my best to facilitate as many people in my career, because this is one of the things which I have found missing in our talents, in our industry also. And there is still a big gap in learning as well as in the implementation. So this is our today's seminar, a lean project management in construction. First, I was going with just lean project management, and Mr. Vakas told me that we have a lot of civil engineers and so on. So I turned the topic at the end towards construction also, so we can enjoy the benefits. I will try to utilize my oil and gas experiences, which I learned during my tenure. And again, it's like a continuous job. Now I've been training to thousands of individuals who have been across from different disciplines: engineering, electronical engineering, civil engineering. So we keep getting the informations, and as Mr. Vakas said, I am glad to be the part of his success and many others. Thank you. Before we begin, he has already given the small introduction, not a small, huge one of it. So this is some of the certifications I have done so far. Spaces was not actually available, so I could not put all of them. I'm started my career with the IT, still in IT, handling the IT department in one of the organizations here in Saudi Arabia. I am luckily from those individuals in the world. There are only 2 people in the world who hold all PMI certifications, and I am one of them. And one is another guy in Vietnam. And so far, I've been playing my role. It's a bit difficult when you have a regular job than when you have a trading industry, and when you have actually I do lectureship for a university also, where I deliver the MBA and BBA courses related to business and management. So that is what my brief profile about it. Before I begin with, I hope that my voice is clear and you guys can see the screen clearly. There's no problem now. Is it okay? Everything is okay? Mr. Vakas, you can hear us also?
I can hear you, but your screen is not visible. I don't know why.
It's visible
It's visible now. Yeah, it's clear now. Okay. Thank
Yeah,
you.
okay. Let me give you a big disclaimer. Whatever I will say, they are purely upon my views, which I have collected from my experiences and my interaction with multiple industries. If I may sound weird, like I'm speaking too fast, you can stop me, but please hold down. I'll try to keep it as slow as possible. And the purpose of this training is all about the reference material we have collected. I've been working on since long time, almost 10 years now, working on lean management in different industries. So I'll try to provide my views. But because majority of you who are sitting here, maybe I am assuming that they are project management professionals and certified, or at least they have the trainings or not. So if they have not, so I prepared my training webinar in a way that everyone can have every aspect of it. Those who don't have any understanding about project management, what is a project, and those also who have no information about methodologies available. So I'll give a touch of it. It's a huge presentation for sure. I will tailor it as per the situation. So normally what we start with our trainings and so on. All of you are working on projects, aware of the projects. And for sure, I cannot open the mics to debate it because it will take hours and hours to start with. So all those people who don't know what is a project, so as per the book, and Mr. Vakas also knows that I don't read the slides, so don't try to read the slides. I will explain you in my experiences. That will be the better option for you guys. So what is a project? It's a temporary thing which has a start date and end date, and it will produce different results. It could be an output, it could be a result, it could be a product. But the purpose is why we do a project. So whenever we do a project, we actually want to bring a change into our existing capacity from one state to another state, from our current state to future state. And to bring this change, we actually do a project, a program, or a portfolio. So whenever we do the projects, it has to be done with some methodologies. It has to be managed well. It's not like this that you started and you become a manager and you are trying to do the things by your own. So to do the project management, I have to use all my tools, all my knowledge, whatever I have learned, my skills, my experiences, and I have to integrate them so I can manage a project, a program, or a portfolio in a better way. If you are thinking about situations why we do a project, we do projects or programs or portfolios. Maybe the customer is asking for it. Maybe it's a technological requirement. Maybe it's a government requirement. Maybe it's the international organizations requirement. Maybe it's the compliance requirement. Maybe your product, whatever you did, it's going to expire. Like if you are working in oil and gas industry, so there is a life for oil and gas pipes. If you're working in building construction, so there is a life of a building. It's like 20, 25 years, 30 years, whatever it is. After it has to be demolished and make it through again, constructed or build it again. So this is again the process of keep going through. So our projects come into existence, programs, because of those situations. So from that perspective, once they occur, we have to manage them well. And based upon our knowledge and experience, we have to manage them. To manage them, a global framework, a global standard says that project is divided into 5 process bits. That project should be initiated, project should be planned. Then you should not spend. Why I am saying this? You might feel it that I am trying to exaggerate the information or trying to provide you some information which is not relevant. So when we call it like project life cycle, and inside project life cycle, we have project management life cycle, that the project should be initiated. Initiated means that project should be committed, that someone has given you the commitment that yes, we will do the project. Then you will start planning. You will never spend time on planning. If you will start planning without initiating on the project, this is what? Waste. Waste of time, waste of resources, waste of unnecessary activities. So project management never allows you to go for planning directly if the project is not initiated, because time is important, time is the value, and time is the constant. And you will only execute the project when it is planned. You will not go here and there for planning. Do not waste your time and others' time. Plan it well, verify it from the customer. That's what I will tell you in the lean construction principles also. that when you're planning it, get it verified. Think from the customer perspective. Plan it properly, appropriately. So changes will be less and satisfaction will be high. And once it is approved, then you will ask your execution team, where I think majority of you actually works here on the execution side, that you already have a prepared plan and you just start working on it. So you can ask many questions that Imran, why you think that we have to go for changes? We are just provided with the plan. And this is a question for me in many of the trainings that, sir, we get the scope of work ready, we just deliver it. And if we provide extra, so management become angry, customer become angry, there are delays in responses and so on. These points I will cover in my lean principle also. So while executing, you have to just not sitting in the office and enjoying that, okay, on that time I will finish the project and program and hand it over. No, you have to continuously keep monitoring and closing it also. Means monitoring and controlling, checking your performances, everything is going in the right direction as per plan. If not, what is the problem? What we planned wrong, which did not work. So we have to learn from our lessons and adapt. We have to learn from our lessons and adapt accordingly as early as possible. There are many approaches. I don't want to go here and there, like Six Sigma, which says that you cannot stop the process. If you find any error, stop the process until you find the root cause of the process. That's why it is happening. So this is one of the things, because whatever you will do, it will be waste. So instead of wasting more time, let's fix it and then start fresh. And once everything's finished, then you have to close it, which means make the transition from project to operations. And you have to understand the closing requirements also, that there should be a migration, there should be a platform, or there should be a training before you transfer. So globally, as a standard by the project management, for any project management framework, it has to be initiated, it has to be planned, it has to be executed. And while executing, you have to monitor your performances and you have to close it well, which means you have to collect the feedback that after doing the project or program, we collected the feedback. I cannot speak more than that, otherwise it will become more project management training. And these are some methods which we use, and one lean is one of them. And lean is embedded into 3 methodologies here, which I will show you in a while now. That traditionally we used to work with our waterfall model, which I've just shown you, that we keep working in stages, one stage to another stage, and we are not coming back, which is very, very common in our construction industry, because in construction, changes are very expensive. Scope of work is has to be defined properly. And even if I say in oil and gas industry, so in oil and gas industry, it's very sensitive, it's very risky. Changes and improper planning can lead you a bigger disaster, which is related to the human life also. So mostly the organized industries like oil and gas and construction, or complicated construction industry, they prefer to go with the predictive environment, which is waterfall methodology. But you have to use any one of them, whether it's PMI related, whether it's Prince2 related. All of us actually have worked with the critical chain management or the Primavera, where we prepare the project management. And normally planners actually work on the Microsoft project or planner, where we have approaches of critical chain project management. What is critical chain project management? If I just give a small brief about it. So critical chain project management is about placing the buffers between the activities. So in case of any delays, you don't change the whole schedule. You only have specific time. So you can have additional time. Once this additional time will be helpful for you to finish those errors, those reoccurrings, those problems. So this is what our waterfall model, which we keep going from start to end, that you have to prepare the requirement, prepare the design upon it, then implement it or execute it, and get it verified, and then perform the maintenance upon it. And that's what the whole waterfall model of construction keeps going on in our regular industry. And as I told you, that critical chain industry, we have to place some buffers. It could be related to the risk because resources are not available, or resources are not as per the talents what are required for the project or for the programs in construction industry. So we place buffers between the resources and also between the project. So if there are any delays, we can measure them. Because imagine if you are going directly here, and if this activity is delayed, now all those people, imagine this was done by another contractor. This activity was done by another contractor. So the whole plan is gone. So for those things, we actually keep some delays. And this method is called as critical chain project management methodology. We have another method of doing the work where we have the agile environment. And agile we do actually uh, in the form of adaptive environment. We call it adaptive life cycle also, when the requirements are not clear. Now, what does that mean? Requirements are not clear. Here, your industry, which is actually some of you might heard about BIM, which you are the part of it, some of you. So, what we do nowadays, we have virtual models of AutoCAD like Revit, where you can actually see the whole layout of the house or the building or the whole project, what you are going to construct. So, what happens actually? You are collecting the early feedback. The point is, I again not going towards project management. I'm trying to bring you on the topics of lean. That early feedback is better. And so when you have early feedback, changes will be less. But we are not saying do not stop the changes. Changes will be less, but we have to do it anyway. So agile project management came with the concept of that if we keep working in the flow, we cannot make the productivity. Like if I keep doing the work in the waterfall method, so I will keep producing the buildings as normal buildings, what we used to have. There will be no innovations. We have the biggest example in our industry. If you manage to find out, and if you have time, watch on the YouTube the documentary of Burj Al Arab. There is a hotel in UAE, and there is another one which everyone knows, Burj Khalifa. The only difference between both of them you will find out in agile project management. At that time when Burj Al Arab was there, so agile project management was not as popular as a. So you will find in that documentary of National Geographic that they have spent almost 6 to 8 years just to build the foundation of the hotel, and the rest of the hotel was prepared only in 25% time. But 80% time, which goes around 6 to 8 years, they spend just keep trying multiple things on C to make the foundation of our hotel. It's not a joke. Whatever they had best, they hired best architectures, they hired best engineers, and they tried to do it, and they tried multiple things. They keep trying designs, they keep changing designs, and ultimately they actually, if you look from our perspective, 6 to 8 years is a waste. In construction industry, if you guys are from construction industry, 6 to 8 years wastage of time. Imagine the cost. Those are from the Middle East, where we have a good amount of money, and they are actually willing for the value, not for the output only. So they were ready to spend. But they learned their lessons, and all those experimental tasks they did on the softwares. Or they built the simulated environments where they simulated the air pressures, the earthquake, the architectural design, the engineering design, the foundations and everything. And they kept doing it as per the requirement. Before making it into the construction, they were actually testing it everything on the software or on a smaller scale, making the smaller scale of it and building it. So if we could have been doing those things in the traditional one, we will never have Burj Al Arab or Burj Al Khalifa type hotel or the rotation tower in Singapore. So Agile says that we have to follow the individual interactions, then following the processes and tools. I'm not going to teach project management here or Agile again. So if we keep following the processes, we can never bring the innovations. Our measurement, like you guys were aware of the KPIs, but in nowadays we go with the OKRs, objectives and key results, where we set our objectives and what objectives needs to be set with this particular building or the pipeline we are going to construct it. We have to collaborate with the customer, so more feedback, less changes, and whenever the changes come, you have to deploy the changes. That is what agile management of doing the project. That here stakeholder participation is very high. We can keep it interactive. Everything is transparent. They can see everything, whatever you are building, and here customer feels more better. So you can deliver the better projects. Based upon the pull method, which is from the lean, because all those methods, what we have seen, agile, or critical chain, the waterfall, they are based upon push method. Now, what is this push method of? I will explain it here also. Push method means you have made a schedule and you push the team go and do this task. Whether resource available, whether resources are not available, whether resources available, whether resources are not available. So you made the thing that guys, you have to do the work. Otherwise, we will be delayed. This is what push approach. You're pushing it. Kanban goes with the pull approach, which is actually the approach of lean. That based upon your resources, you have to work. Okay, whatever the work is, you have to define the clear roles and responsibilities, and you have to allocate them the task. And anyone who is available, he will come and take the task, bring it here. Once we finish it, he will put it here. Everything will be streamlined, transparent, stakeholder engagement is high. And instead of pushing the people to work, we are pulling the work as per the resource availability. So this is Kanban project management framework, which is also possible for it's already working in the construction industry. It has started with manufacturing industry actually, from Toyota, from where he bring the concept of Kanban, that to track the work based upon the resource constraint, because it works on the concept of theory of constraints, that you don't have the resources available and you have a lot of constraints. The next one is a Scrum, purely for the IT projects, mostly you can say. Majority of the time we do the IT projects, but some part of the, again, nowadays we have the hybrid type of projects, which means some part of the project we can do with Agile, some part of the project we can do with Waterfall, some part we can do with Kanban, some part we can do with Scrum. So this is another methodology of doing the project in the project and IT industry mostly, or the soft industry also. I will not say IT industry. It's like mostly in the service industry, where the phases are called as iterations or sprints. Normally in construction, phase size is around 6 months or something like this. In Scrum, the size of the phase is minimum 1 and maximum 4 weeks. And they have the limits on the team also, that in one team at a time, you cannot have, you can have minimum 2, maximum 9 team members in one team. And the beauty of this, many people can work concurrently. And once the work is done, so because we keep the life cycle short, again, in the review meeting, we get the early feedback. Imagine I am doing my phase in 2 weeks, and after 2 weeks, I am collecting the feedback. So feedback is helping me to what? Get the changes done as required in the shortest time. So we are reducing the cost. Again, we are trying to eliminating the waste. And at the end of every review meeting, we do a retrospect meeting, what we call it as lesson learned meeting, where we check our progress, what we did good, we should continue doing it, what we could not do good, or this method was not good, so we should change it, or what new we can do to make it better. It's not about to do the work in iteration, it's all about to do the work with innovations. And one of the framework, which is a UK-based framework, tends to project and control environment. Like for the PMI, PMP, it was more towards the process-based approach. They have the principle-based approach. And now PMI is also coming to the principle-based approach, that you have to remember the principles and you have to work with these principles whenever you deliver any project in any industry. And the lastly, which is our topic. So now I have actually given you the framework that once you guys are sitting here, and if I started directly with the lean project management, so you might not be able to get the project management thing. So I gave you a touch of 15 minutes so you guys can be aware of project management also, that what frameworks we have and what you can use to manage. And the last one, which is our topic, lean project management. And lean project management goes around with 5 principles. Identify the value. Now we have a big debate. If I start now, there is something called output and there is something called outcome. In construction industry, what we work mostly in construction industry, we work mostly with the output because this is your target. You are not concerned. You are not concerned what they are going to do. If you guys can use the chat window or something, if I ask you one question to all of you, when you are going to construct a building of hospital or a building of hotel or a building of a school, do you care as of now? Do you care while constructing the building? You just give the building or you care about the building, that how you are going to make it, for what purpose? What do you guys think? You guys do the building without thinking what will be inside? That how the operations will be done. You are not responsible for the operations, right? You are responsible only to produce the building, and that is your task. But again, what my point of say, thank you, Zayed and Zishan, for your feedback. So when we work for the output and when we are thinking for the value, like when we are constructing the building, yes, for sure, human life, for sure, the purpose of the building, it can help us to choose the better material. It can help us to better choose the resources required for the construction industry. So we can actually generate those things which are not available. If we don't have it, we can acquire them or hire those expertise. So you have to understand the value. Imagine if that would have been the case, if you are thinking for the output, if someone has asked you to make the world tallest building, and at the end, he is asking you, can you make a what we call it, helicopter stand for landing? Imagine, to produce this type of building, this guy might have spent billions. And because he didn't ask for it, you didn't prepare for it, and your foundation is not supporting this feature. So after spending billions of whatever the currency you are using, there will always be a glitch in your imagination. If it would be like this, it could be better. So even after spending the billion, you don't have the satisfaction. So you have to understand the value from the customer perspective, what they are looking. Because what I have seen in the majority of the students, they always have the same point that, sir, we are given the plan, we are given the drawing, and we have to build according to the drawing. That's it. We don't know plus minus. This is customer knows, the sponsor knows, or whoever knows. Our task is what we have given it. But if you will identify the value and you will understand the concept, so ultimately what will happen? The benefits will be reaching to the stakeholder, the people who will use the building or the required whatever deliverable we have produced. And once you have identified the value, map it. It's not like that, okay, you have identified it, but you cannot map it. Map the value stream, which means that make a map of it and think what best you can deliver. Because once you will identify the value, there will be many values. No, map it, which value will go towards the project or towards this specific project. Because you cannot apply all the values to all the projects or programs, because every project is what? Unique. You cannot apply everything everywhere. So you have to map the value stream and then create the flow, which means we have to, again, the same thing, critical chain management, that you have to create an optimal flow, which is mostly based upon the resource constraints, so you can establish the full system. And whatever you do, like the retrospect from the agile, which they have taken here is what? Retrospect or lesson learned. Improve yourself. Keep the shortest duration, keep it simple, keep it simple and small. We use this acronym, KESS. Keep it small and simple. And once you will keep it small, you will always have a chance of improvement. So continuous improvement, which you can establish by yourself if you have the team of experts, or if you don't have the team of experts, then you can use guided continuous improvement, which means you can acquire or hire someone to help you in that industry. So that is what lean management, which have one principle, let's go in more detail, a bit more detail, one by one. That the first principle of lean says that define the value as the customer needs for a product. Here we use a word called as empathize. What is empathy or empathize? If I say in a simple English, it is like this, that feel yourself in someone else's shoes, then you will understand what they are looking. Do not try to produce from your perspective. No, customer is paying for it. What he or she wants, you have to understand their needs, the customer and stakeholder needs. And for that, you can do the interviews, you can understand the demographics, you can do the surveys. So you can uncover what customer want. And then you need to also understand what price they are willing to pay. It means he's paying for 1 million, but he's asking for 10 million. It cannot be justified. You cannot do this. And you should have the courage to say no, which is very rare in our industry. And everyone say, yes, yes, we'll do it. I always have a firm belief that when we go for contract negotiation, and it is also the principle of Agile, when you negotiate for contract, if you guys can answer me on the chat window, if you bring someone on the least price, you think you have won or you have lost? If you can answer on the chat, that if you do a lot of contract negotiation and you said, I want the contract with the cheapest price. So those people, I'm really sorry for my words, those people who think that they have won, they live in a paradise world, because you cannot negotiate with the provider. He knows how to do, how to play. So customers should understand what they are willing to pay. Yeah, for sure. I'm glad to see that majority of you have answered that yes, we will lose. So that is what a very good thing, that you understand that contract negotiation, the more you will negotiate, the more you will lose. The more you will go towards micromanagement, the more you will lose. So the mindset is about understanding, about the customer understanding and what they are willing to pay. The second principle is to keep the customer point as a reference, as I said earlier, and then arrange the material to deliver the product as per the value what he needs. We can have waste if we don't do the values. So waste can be like into two categories: non-value added but necessary, and non-value added and unnecessary. So try to remove as much as possible unnecessary non-value added, because our task is what? We need to remove anything which comes under non-value added. And value is what? That's what we are looking for. If the value is not coming, I should not provide those things, or I should remove those things from the process. So we need to think about the customer point again. And we have a lot of possibilities. Map which one works fine with the customer requirement. And then the third principle is saying that use Kanban, which I told you earlier. Kanban. Kanban is the tool to show you what? Bottleneck. If I ask you guys, sorry, I use a lot of pen. I can use slides, but I prefer to use pen because it is quite interactive than just using the slide. If there is a column to do, in progress, done, and have problems. If you guys look at it, is this a good status of your project, of your workflow? What do you think? When you see this type of project, what do you see? It's a perfect bottleneck. A lot of work in progress, but it's not moving out. It's not moving. It's just stuck. And hence, what you are doing? Creating inventory of work, which is wrong, which is not a good approach. Multitaskings, these things, they are not allowed. So you have to create a workflow that remove, like you can make a flow chart and remove unnecessary activities, remove unnecessary requirements, remove unnecessary approval requirements. So you can fix it. Now, I just said a word, remove unnecessary approval requirement. So this approval requirement can be done with the help of governance. What is governance? I can set some governance, like in Agile, we teach this, that if something is waiting in the column to be approved, like to be approved, and it's waiting. So we can put a governance here that anything which is waiting in the approval context, in the approval column for more than 2 weeks or 10 days, it will be considered as approved. If customer is not answering, the responsible person is not answering, they don't have time to visit, there is rain, there could be anything. I will bring it to the column of done. If you have changes, no problem. We can make changes. We welcome change. But I will not make the inventory here in the approval columns. So this is the beauty of creating the flows. Remove unnecessary things, control with the governance. So these unnecessary things can be reduced with the help of proper established governance. Establish the pull system, which means, as I said, instead of pushing the work, we pull the work. Instead of pushing the work, we pull the work based upon the resource availability. Like I can also apply governance. At one time, no one can have more than 4, or in this column, at any time, I should not find more than 4 tasks. So I put a limit to avoid the bottleneck. So we will only take what is required, and this is called as just-in-time delivery. That we produce what is required as of now to settle. It's not like that you just put all the work on the to-do column. No, this will destroy everything. You have to put the work which is required now, sequencing of the thing. So establish the pull system based upon their dependencies and based upon their sequences. And again, the last point is improvement. No one is 100%. Every time we do something, there is always a chance for improvement. And you should not be a boss. Don't try to become the boss. Be open-minded, be open-hearted, and accept criticism, with constructive criticism for sure. And receive as much as you can from your stakeholders. And which stakeholders? Mostly the internal ones, because they are the people who are working on the ground. So if you will accept the feedback, it will help you to innovate. So if someone is saying that I have a problem, we should fix it, ask him, bring me the solution. I will accept it. I have a problem. I have 2 solutions. Okay, let's sit all of us and decide which solution will work best. No, your solution is wrong. I found this in 2023. This solution is applicable. Very good. You can do it. So we can have further discussions on it. So you are improving, you are modernizing, you are updating yourself, innovating, and it's a culture. Again, it's a culture. And that's what we have in common. We call it, we have to pursue our leadership qualities. And what we teach in MBA, maybe someone remembers, in MBA we teach there are 36 qualities or 36 traits of leadership. We don't remember 14 points of our founder, right? 14 points of Qadar. How can we remember 36? So I made it short for people, not me, means it's the leadership. You can remember 3 things: guide, motivate, and lead. Motivate and lead. Guide them how to work, knowledge sharing. Motivate them with the proper rewards and recognitions, and lead them with leadership skills. So that's how you can play the leadership role in any capacity. And there are multiple styles of leadership, which is not our topic again. So you have to pursue the perfection. You have to collect the feedback. You have to look at the market. You have to look at the things. But before going to the next slide, just to check that where you guys are standing, how many of you guys heard about IR 4.0? Who heard about it? IR 4.0. So I got one answer yet. What about others? You can answer on the chat window. There are a good amount of people here. Imagine you are working in construction industry and you don't know IR 4.0. I'm not again, there is no point of taunting or criticizing. I'm just telling you this information that look how you can motivate yourself for the future learning. IR 4.0 is Industry Revolution 4.0, and these tools are being used since 2000. And you know, IR 4.0 has already been launched, which is mostly about the artificial. It was also about the artificial intelligence, but this is more about artificial intelligence, machine learning, and robotics. The gaze which you guys are using, visual gaze, they are the part of IR 5.0, like the things where human cannot reach. You have specialized components, specialist robotics, who can reach to the point for inspections. Like here in Saudi Arabia, Saudi Aramco is one of the leader, and SABIC is one of the leader for IR 5.0. They have managed, again, I'm not promoting anyone, I'm just telling that yes, still in when I do the trainings here in Saudi Arabia, also not many people know about IR 4.0 because they don't have that trend of learning. What is IR 4.0? What is IR 5.0? And for your information, IR 6.0 is already in the research phase, means they are working on the research and they are doing some practices and so on. So 4.0 was already over, 5.0 is launched, 6.0 in testing, and we are saying that we don't care about 4.0. So here, with the help of IR 5.0, you can reduce the waste, or you can do the task where the human is not required. It's not inevitable that, okay, you must do it with human. You can automate the task. There are many tasks which can be automated. So pursue perfection. So these are some principles of lean management that identify the value, map the stream, create the value, and then pull basis scheduling, and ultimately go for the improvement. In construction industry, the losses are very high, as per the figure taken from the AutoCAD website. That still, I'm not saying being Asians, we are far away from that. Even being the Western cultures, they are on the verge of losing a huge amount of money. And this money is being lost. Why? Because the data which we have is not being analyzed. When I started my career in computer science in 90s, and at the time, you might heard it now also, that a new slogan came in 2000, in early 2000, a slogan came, data is the new gold. Anyone heard about it? Data is the new gold. And still people doesn't know about this statement. Data is the gold now. And there are data centers who convert data into information. Where what happens? They utilize the data. Thank you, Mr. Vakas. You shared the information. We had that webinar. Industry revolution. IR means industry revolution. So data is the new gold, which means that the data you collect from the site, what we do, daily progress report, dump it. Weekly report, dump it. Put it in the file, put it in the dossier, that's it. Our purpose finished. No, this data is the real value. On this data, we'll perform the improvement. On this data, we'll find out the real values. Now, again, normal pattern or least pattern is, let me go on the positive side. The least pattern is that the data which we receive on the site, execution site, how much you guys trust on that data, what you receive on daily progress report? 100%? How much you trust on daily progress report data? 100% or less? Can you type it on the chat window? How much trust you have on your daily progress report data? What do you think, Mr. Vakas? You are also sitting here. You have been in construction industry also. How much we trust on daily progress report? 50%, 70%, 100%. So it means we know that we are just making the fake data, right? We are not having the data. Even if you are doing the data, it's not 100% accurate. So we have to check the data, what is it? So we can actually use this data for our improvement. And then we have conflicts between the vendors. which is one of the topic in the lean management also. And we are not learning from our mistakes because we don't have time to review the data. And this is the constraint, time. Everyone cannot do all the jobs. There should be a proper department. And it will only work if you have a mindset. If you have output mindset, you will work like this, what you have been working in. But if you have a growth mindset, you can work. Here, I would feel essential to give you a quote or an example from one of our leaders in Pakistan. You might heard Mr. Dr. Wakarul Islam, who is actually the CEO of, I think, Jafar Brothers something. So I was going through with one of his stories. He said, when he joined a company, I don't remember what he was like as a junior person, as an internee. So what he did, said, I looked at how much computer they are selling. So I make a report as a category, like as an Excel. And it was on my first day on the job, so I gave it. So he said, I did what? Extra, which was not required. No one was doing it. Said it gone through to the senior management. My manager was happy. He went to the senior management and I went out for lunch. When I came out, everyone was asking me, where is your car? Where is your car? Where is your car? So he said, I got scared. It's my first day. What I have done, the people are searching for me. Maybe they found offended. That why you did it. But he said when they read it and then it goes to the higher management and so on. So he was promoted also for that purpose. So it's all about your mindset, that you want to stay in that mindset for the whole time, or you want to go with the growth mindset. If you want to go with the growth mindsets, then yes, there are techniques available in the market which you can prefer. And our topic is lean, so I will keep you on the lean all the time. So lean construction was the philosophy that it is about managing and improving the construction process. The word is what? Manage, but manage with the improvement. Because if you keep doing the work and you don't improve, there will be no value of the time what you are spending. So lean construction came into existence into 90s actually. And they started working with the help of multiple people, stakeholders. And they said, it's not one person task. You as one are nothing. It has to be the owners, designers, architects, engineers, contractors, subcontractors, end users, anyone who is involved, or in simple words, stakeholders. So they actually established the way of doing the lean management that find the efficiency and increase the profitability of manufacturing. How to, because for sure, when you reduce the waste, you increase the profits or the revenues ultimately. So according to Mr. Ballard, who is the key person, owner, you can say, he actually highlighted and he did a lot of work on research, and he came up that there are three principles of lean: improve work quality, increases employee collaboration, and that's what we learn in our team collaboration exercises, boost project satisfaction with the help of stakeholder engagement, and increase the return on investment. Because this is you, this is customer, both have shared concepts, which is the value of money. Whatever you are providing, whatever you are doing, it has to be done in a better way. Whether it's a building, you have to think which type of building they need. And it has to be tested with multiple techniques. I will show you at the end of the slide what is applicable, what is not. So based upon this information, we have to pursue our thing. So our main purpose is what? Reduce the waste. This is our own target. So if you look and if you take the whole central idea of my presentation, it goes around what? Reduce the waste and improve. Reduce the waste and improve. It will happen. Your return of investment will start working. And as giving the examples that these VRs and 3D CAD modelings will help you to apply the lean thinking in construction project management. Majority of the tasks can be done at the time of planning. Planning means you can prepare the prototypes, what we call it in our normal life. You can prepare the prototype, and this prototype can be like low fidelity prototype or high fidelity prototype. Low fidelity means you can make on a paper, on a sketch. High fidelity, you can make it in a computer, in a proper software, like a mock-up, the whole visualization of it. So once customer will have a look at it, or stakeholders, they will provide their best possible feedbacks, which will help you to reduce the time in construction and reduce the changes. And time is what? Money. So ultimately, you are saving the money. So there is an example for sure. I can share the presentation after the training, so you can actually have a look and read in detail also. I have no problem, because the more you will share the knowledge, the more will be the advantage. I will upload it somewhere, or I will give it to Mr. Vapas. He will share with you whatever it is. It's not something very big. If he allows it, again, not my side. I have no problem with it. So when you do this, there are softwares like the first software which implemented this lean management is Lean Project Delivery System, which is what they want and how to accomplish. So it was developed to reach the process of lean construction, where to develop the best possible way to design and build infrastructure. What it does, what is wanted, what is provided, and what are our constraints. So you will build your project planning based upon the constraints, where we will show that what is the purpose you need to understand. So you are considering what? Value. So you are offering the design and engineering based upon the value. But again, by keep thinking the constraints, whether it's a money, whether it's the time, whether it's the quality, whether it's a regulation, you have to consider them while making it. So in this delivery systems, they have actually defined, if you look what is happening, they're increasing the collaboration. Every section of it or every domain of it is overlapping with each other. So you should not make yourself, when it goes to the engineering department, or says you are, sorry for my words, you are stupid, you don't know how to do the work. Then the work will come back here and he will fix it. No, let them work together as a team. Arrange those meetings in a proper way. So the things can be defined. Okay, design concept should be related to the product design. Fabrication people should be engaged in the product design. Commissioning people should be involved in the planning process also, especially when you are working with process design. So engineering people and installation people will work together. So when team works together in collaboration, or in also in co-location, there is a word we use in project management called co-locations. So stakeholder influence is low and engagement is high. Team motivation is very high. Everyone can see everyone body language, and you are enjoying the benefits of team collaborations. Again, it's all about the mindset if you want to do it. If you don't have mindset, whatever I will say, you will feel it. Oh, you are wasting our time, man. It doesn't happen in the real industry. But it's all about the mindset. So LPDS is one of the software, and another one is what? Last Planner System, or LPS. It is one of the great things also I have discussed and read about it. It contains lean and agile together. So where people have the interactions, what they do, they actually build, they prioritize the work. They prioritize the work, that what to be done, what can be done, and what will be done. So they prioritize the work based upon like planning the work, who should do, the process will deliver what. Everything is related to the objectives. Everything is related to the objectives you are going to pursue. Again, I'm not going to like make presentation what this software does, how this software does, but I'm just telling that it makes the look ahead schedule, actually the full schedule, then the partial schedule, you can say phase schedule, then 6 weeks schedule. They go with normally 5 weeks ahead or 6 weeks ahead of schedule, where you can actually prepare the teams and interactions in the software, which allows you to do that. So that is what one of the amazing thing I have seen in multiple tutorials of LPS. It's one of the amazing things you can use for the lean man. Means if even you don't know about the lean, it will guide you how to work. And again, this training has nothing to do with the company's promotions and so on. So these type of waste which occurs in any industry, whether it's construction or something. So overproduction, which means we have done the work more than the required. You have inventory of the deliverables, defects all the time. You have a lot of defects coming over, a lot of waiting, which I told you, you can solve it with the help of governance. Transportation, you have to establish the just-in-time concept, which was first introduced by Toyota, that they were the first company considered in manufacturing or pioneers in the industry to establish JIT system, that there will be no inventory, there will be no warehouses. You will deliver the item when you need it. So just-in-time inventory concept they brought it, and again it goes to the lean management also. So overproduction, overworking is not allowed, and the actions which we take due to the workplace conditions. So these workplace conditions also matters. Maintain the quality throughout. You can use these waste to find out that what waste can be done how. Like overproductions, no, you can solve with scheduling. Defect repairs, we can go with proper planning. Waiting, we can solve with governance. Transport, we can solve with just-in-time things. Inventory will be finished when you will go with JIT. Over processing will never happen if you have the proper schedule. So if you consider these as the waste, you can actually eliminate them from your activities. Like team A has finished, team B is waiting. Why? No one told me. No one told you what? That you have to start the work. So these finish to start dependencies or start to start dependencies or finish to finish dependencies, they should be allocated accordingly and in collaboration. So all the resources can work as a cohesive unit, not as an individual unit. The major loss occurs because every unit works individually. And you can use to improve these tools like check sheets on daily basis. You will note Pareto diagram, which is also called as 80-20 analysis, scatter diagram to find the pattern of variations between correlations, that what are the relations, why the errors are happening because of planning, why the joints are keep breaking because the material, because of the person, or because of the method, why many errors are coming whenever we do the project. So you can build a histogram and you can perform cause and effect or Pareto or a scatter diagram. How to improve the process, you can do the flowchart. So you can provide the value. The lean techniques which are available in the market, there are details. Because of the time, I may not be able to go one by one, but let's see how much I can finish it. Kaizen, the continuous improvement loop, which is mostly popular with Mr. Daming, PDCA, Plan, Do, Check, Act, what we call a PDCA loop or continuous quality improvement loop, Kaizen. There are two things I learned when I came in quality. One is called as continuous improvement, and one is called as continual improvement. The difference between is if you fail in continuous improvement, you will come back to zero. In continual improvement, if you fail, so you will come back to the previous state. So that's what again they are trying to do. Keep it simple and small. Keep it in smaller batches. Do not over plan, so you can improve accordingly. Then we have poker yoke, which is good to do the right thing at the first. Do not do it like, okay, we will see. No, not we will see. Do it first. Here we have a Mr. Flip Crosby. He said, build the quality in. It's not like that we will see and then improve. No. Then we have 5S for sorting the things. That's what, how it will be prioritized. Just in time inventory. Kanban, which I have shown you that you can visualize the flow to avoid the bottleneck. Jitoka to employ the supervisory functions, that as soon as the process is completed, you have to find out. You will not waste until the root cause is done. Packet time, the maximum time in which customer demands to be met. A Hijunka, which means cleaning the waste through the customer situation, that he keep changing his opinion and then you keep building it and you are destroying the thing, which is again useless. In construction, it's very expensive to make the mistakes. And if these mistakes happen, you lose time, and time is you lose cost and also the resources. So these are the things like Kaizens, as I said, continuous improvement for change and good. Yoke for a mistake proofing system, that do it first at the bad time. If any operation is not performed, there will be signals and triggers. So you should inform the people that the time is going and without any activities. 5S, CD, Citon, CISO, Cikitoso, and Shitsuke. Sort, set in order, shine, standardize, and sustain. These are like 5S. You can do it. Or just in time, I already explained. You can then explain you already. Jidoka is related to like using the small artificial intelligence with the trigger based or action based improvements that you cannot have multiple things going on at one time. Otherwise, the other machine will be impacted or other team will be impacted. And these are some tools you can actually reference. There are BIM and there is a Revit and so on, which can be used. And I told you like learn for the scheduling, LPS or LPTS, you can use it for lean implementation in your industry, whatever industry you're. Again, I try to put all the way towards the construction industry, but it can be done in place also, because this is all the whole lean project management, which can be applied to any type of projects. So thank you very much. I hope I gave you some information which might be helpful for you. I hope that I delivered something which might be new to you, so you can actually go and research. It might be adding some values to your knowledge as well as to your career. I hope I was very fast for that. And so thank you very much for your time. Thank you, Mr. Vakas, for giving me the opportunity to show a little bit of my knowledge to the people. Thank you, everyone who have given the time and attended this training webinar. I hope it will give you the value somehow.